Welcome viewers, casual couch surfers, sports fanatics to another edition of Sports Talk Live, where you're promised 30 minutes of entertaining sports talk. I'm your host today, Jordan Rather, and joined with me today is
Kyle Popovich,
Brigham Wyrock,
Trent Cummings.
April 30th, the NFL Draft. Top 5 picks are Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Oakland, Washington. What are your thoughts about the first draft pick in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't think it's any question who's going number one overall. It's got to be Jameis Winston to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got the intangibles, he's got the height, he's got the strength. If the question is going to be if he has the intelligence to maintain, a starting position in the NFL. What are you guys' thoughts?
I would have to agree. I definitely think the first pick's going to go to Tampa Bay, obviously. I think they're going to pick Jameis Winston. I think that above Marcus Mariota, he's just a more NFL-ready quarterback, and that he possesses the skills that an NFL quarterback needs. So like you said, the smarts off the field and on the field, we'll see if that comes with time. But I think then the second pick is going to be Tennessee with either Marcus Mariota, and if they don't go with the quarterback, they're going to go with Leonard Williams as the defensive end, as far as the first two picks go.
I agree, but also I think with the draft coming up, Tennessee's in a position to possibly move back in the NFL draft, acquire some picks. There's been some talk with the Cleveland Browns wanting to move up to that second pick, possibly take Marcus Mariota. There's not really a vote of confidence in Cleveland with Johnny Manziel yet, him just getting out of rehab. So I think anything's up in the air with the second pick, but I think whoever it is, it'll take Marcus Mariota. And then with the third pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they need defense. Dante Fowler Jr., he's an outside linebacker from Florida. He's an option. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Jacksonville definitely needs a lot of things out there. Defense being one of those things. But I think the most interesting part of the draft might be receiver. Amari Cooper's going out there. He's been making plays his entire college career. He's been in big-time games. He's made big-time plays, and I think all that stuff helps out his draft stock tremendously. And I think the first couple of picks are going to be pretty exciting.
Now, Brigham, speaking of wide receivers, what are your top 3 wide receiver picks for the NFL Draft?
I'd have to say Amari Cooper, obviously. Then you have Kevin White. Definitely, I think he's the next one. And the third one's really up for grabs. It could be a multiple, because then you get into the deeper depth of the draft of when that third receiver really comes into play. So that's kind of up for grabs for the third one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the draft class is stacked again like last year with wide receivers. And that third pick at wide receiver could be Devontae Parker from Louisville, Dorial Green-Beckham from Missouri. Devin Smith's up there with Ohio State University. So I think anything can happen with this year's wide receivers. Very talented like last year.
Now, Trent, as a current QB for the UW La Crosse Eagles, you can understand how important it is to be complemented by a great running back. It's been a while since a running back has been drafted in the first round. Who are your top picks for running back, and do you think they'll be drafted in the first round?
Running back's a very interesting subject. I think the main focus when thinking about drafting a running back is on its shelf life. Your average NFL running backs only last in 6 seasons, 7 seasons, if that nowadays. But this draft class should be top heavy with running back is what the words I was looking for, with Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon III. Those guys have obviously put up great numbers throughout the season last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if Melvin was taken late first, perhaps, early second, hopefully. But I think those guys can both do tremendous things in the NFL, and like you said, running backs help out quarterbacks tremendously, especially young ones, take the pressure off of them when they're able to move the ball on the ground. But I think Todd Gurley, more of a power back. Melvin Gordon, powerful as well, also has a speed complement. But I'm very excited to see those guys in the NFL.
Now, Kyle, earlier we talked about Melvin Gordon's struggles that he may acquire while going into the NFL with passing and run blocking and being a third down back. What is your take on him entering the NFL draft, and do you think he'll be chosen before Todd Gurley?
I think Melvin Gordon has a chance to go number 1. Obviously, last season he only had 19 receptions, so that's something to kind of worry about. Wisconsin was a run-heavy team, so how we'll transition to the passing game is still a question, but I think he has a chance to be the number 1 running back.
Hometown favorite may be the wrong word choice because we do have 2 Chicago Bears fans. So maybe I'll ask Trent what he thinks about our needs, possibly being a quarterback. But as a 30th pick in the NFL draft, who do you think the Packers are looking at specifically?
That's a great question. I got to be honest with you. I've been a little frustrated with the Packers draft choices. I like when they draft more exciting players, players that you can really see make a difference out there. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they go defense. Linebacker, obviously, they just got rid of A.J. Hawk, which is a questionable decision. I think he's a great part of our team and a great asset, but had to stick up for my man there real quick. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they went defense or offense, I guess, in the draft with the 30th pick. There's going to be a lot of talent up there, but what are you guys' thoughts?
I'd agree. They definitely have been on that defensive swing lately, especially with getting Clinton Dix last year in the free safety position. But now, again, this year they lost Tramon Williams, so they're looking to fill that cornerback position. So I could see them picking up maybe Jalen Collins from LSU or Marcus Peters as a cornerback just to fill that hole that could potentially be there this season.
You spoke on the Packers losing A.J. Hawk, who is not only a veteran presence on the inside, but also a leader in the locker room. They also lost Brad Jones, who has gone over to Philadelphia. So that inside linebacker spot, still a question mark. Sam Barrington's going to step up into one of the roles, but I think at the 30th spot, you can find a top linebacker. Denzel Perryman's a run stopper from Miami. Eric Kendricks is the guy I like. He's from UCLA. He's a thumper in the middle. He can also help out in the pass game. So that or cornerback, anything for the Packers, they'll be able to find at the 30th pick.
Now, the Packers were the head of the NFC North, but not far behind was the Vikings with Teddy Bridgewater on a rise, and now they have a new weapon, newly reinstated Adrian Peterson. What do you think about his reinstatement? Is he going to stay with the Minnesota Vikings? Is he going to get all the money he asked for, or is he going to get out of town and move to a different team?
I mean, personally, I don't think it's worth it for the Vikings. I think I think his time in Minnesota is done for. I don't think it's worth the money or the time that the Vikings have to spend on him when they could go somewhere else and find him back, especially with the way he performed at the end of his career before he was out of the NFL temporarily. I mean, I could see him to potentially going to like Arizona or Atlanta, Dallas, Jacksonville. These are all teams that have been up in the air that he's been talking to and meeting with. Tampa Bay, even San Diego. I feel like with those teams, they could probably get a good trade out of getting rid of him and then opening up some salary room for other players that they could use in the future.
Yep, I agree. Earlier, Trent spoke on shelf life for running backs, and when you look at Adrian Peterson, he just turned 30. He's entering his 9th NFL season, and he's carried the ball more than 2,000 times in his career. Now is the opportunity for the Vikings to trade him, acquire some more picks. This year's stacked with running back talent in the draft class, so I think the Vikings can take advantage of the situation. We spoke on some teams that are interested: Jacksonville, Oakland, Atlanta. I mean, anything for the Vikings. If they can move him, they can really acquire some talent.
I could see him being traded pretty much right after the end of the draft, one of those next day deals, so I'd look out for that in the news coming up.
That's very true. Now, he is going to be paid an amount of his remaining contract. Is that going to have any effect on whether he stays? Is that enough incentive and investment in the player for the Minnesota Vikings to keep him around for another year?
I think the Vikings, a report came out a couple days ago, Adrian Peterson wants to stay in Minnesota, but only if he gets paid the majority of his contract, which is $15.5 million he's due in this upcoming season. So that's a lot of money. I know the Vikings were able to dump Greg Jennings' contract, but they acquired Mike Wallace. So they have a lot of money on their plate with the salary cap. I don't think it's worth it. That's a lot of money. If he can work out a pay cut to stay in Minnesota, stay true to his the team that drafted him, I think that would help out. But I think the money situation is actually what might be the holdup with keeping or trading away Adrian Peterson.
I'd agree. It's that money factor for all those NFL players.
It sure is. It's lucky they have Teddy Bridgewater coming off his rookie year, being able to be paid a little bit underpaid and allowing for them to have that success. Speaking of QBs, Tim Tebow just signed a 1-year contract with the Eagles. Now, we played at Florida with Riley Cooper, who's also on the team, and he has the option style of offense under his belt. What are your takes on how successful it'll be after taking years off and re-entering the league?
Yeah, I got 2 words about Tebow, and it's about time. The guy can play football. He's proven over and over that he can win football games. And, as anybody who watches the game knows, that's the object of it. And, I think that through his past NFL experiences, a lot of teams and a lot of people have looked at him for other aspects that really don't contribute or matter at all to winning football games. And, like I said, Tebow's countless times has won games, has proven that he's a good man, a good character, and like I said, it's about time. I'm very happy that the Eagles made this move, and shout out to Mark Sanchez, but I wouldn't be upset if Tebow took the starting job at some point next season.
See, I would have to maybe disagree with you on this. Unless Tebow has been experiencing some major training in his analyst days for the SEC, I don't think it's about time for him. I think that he just doesn't possess the skill sets that the NFL needs. Now, I will admit that going to the Eagles probably puts him in the best position to succeed under Chip Kelly with Riley Cooper and that style of offense, just because I could see him running like the option style or the fast pace, that type of thing. But I don't know if he is really going to get the reps needed for him to really break out. I mean, I guess it's up in the air. We don't really know yet, but I mean, he's really going to have to pull something out of his hat for him to really get that spot and become a statement for an organization.
Really quickly, for the Tebow haters out there, I found a stat. 2 quarterbacks in the fourth quarter are better than Tim Tebow with quarterback rating since he's been drafted in 2010. And those 2 quarterbacks are Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers. So I'm just saying, for those Tebow haters, he's got some statistics behind him.
Get him in the game.
Well, we'll be looking forward to see how Tim Tebow does in this upcoming year. For right now, we're going to take a break and go to our perfect pets. Stay tuned.
Each week, the student-run television station WMCN TV sends out a group of students to film some of the most precious animals of the Cooley Region Humane Society, in a segment we like to call Perfect Pets. The Cooley Region Humane Society offers a variety of programs and services at little or no cost to help both animals and people in our community. If you have found or lost a pet, are in need of training assistance, need cat behavior consultation, desire to volunteer, need to surrender your pet, or are looking to adopt a pet, the Cooley Region Humane Society offers this and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Adopt or become a volunteer today. To find out more about these services, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
That number again for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. So we ended talking about Tim Tebow on his way to becoming a legend, but a living legend that is with us right now is Floyd Mayweather, and he is set to fight on May 2nd against Manny Pacquiao. Now, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, that's been a fight that has been anticipated for a while. What is your take on this upcoming fight?
Well, I think obviously it's going to attract a lot of attention. A lot of money's already been placed out on there. In Vegas, it's going to be a huge deal. They just named the referees, or the referee and the judges, which, by the way, the referee gets $25,000 for this one fight for a couple hours of his life, and each judge gets about $20,000, which I think, not the money aspect of it, but which is a big deal because this fight really could come down to the judges, as it did before when people thought that the decision was skewed and wasn't really a fair enough decision because, based on how they've thought before, I can't say that it's really going to be a knockout fight per se. I mean, I don't know if I can really say who I think is going to win. I'm leaning towards Pacquiao just because Mayweather's trainer has released a statement saying that he hasn't showed up for a training session on time in over a month, which kind of attributes to how maybe his work ethic towards this fight is. I don't know. It's all up in the air to me. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely think Floyd Mayweather might have a lot more to lose if he does end up losing this fight. But, me, just like everybody else, wants to see this fight end in a knockout. Who doesn't want to see 2 guys getting after it and, having an obvious winner in the end. But, I think I got to go with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather. After I saw him make it rain about $1 million on MTV Cribs, I think I've been a fan ever since. So.
Yeah, I think it's up in the air. I mean, both are very established fighters, so I think it could be up in the air. But my money's on Manny Pacquiao.
Well, that fight again is May 2nd, purse of $300 million. But moving on from Pick'ems, we have the MLB, hot and cold. A lot of cold teams, a lot of hot teams. I know the Marlins manager is in the hot seat right now, and the Brewers certainly aren't looking too promising. What is your take, Kyle, on your Cubs right now? Are they a hot team or a cold team?
Cubs are a hot team. They're 2 games over 500, it's sitting at 7-5. They called up their number 1 prospect Friday, and Chris Bryant. And since being called up, he has 6 hits, 4 RBIs, and 4 walks. That on-base percentage is definitely going to help the Cubs out. And joining him is second baseman Addison Russell, who is the 2nd top prospect of the Cubs organization. I think the Cubs are looking upward from here the season on. Just got to get John Lester back on point. But Theo Epstein and his staff have really worked wonders with the Chicago Cubs and their future in baseball, from being kind of down low, not really looked upon, to these guys who are going to have such young and bright stars entering the MLB and really getting the Cubs on top, trying to get them their first World Series win since 1908. So that's never a stat that anybody wants to look at that's fun, but
Yeah, I don't think the Cubs fans have been this excited since Rookie of the Year.
yeah, I'd agree. I think the Chicago Cubs have a lot of great things coming for them in the upcoming years, and I'll throw it out there. I think a World Series could be in their future within the next 5 years. I think it's very possible. But opposite of the Cubs, when we speak cold teams, your Milwaukee Brewers, they're starting off 2-11.
2-11.
Rough start. They got Carlos Gomez, Jonathan Lucroy, and Scooter Gennett on the DL, so that's only going to slow them down.
Players.
Yep, too many players on the DL. But
Yeah, go ahead.
just like he stated before, Mike Redmond, the Miami Marlins manager, is on the hot seat. I give or take 5-10 more losses, and he might be out of a job.
Well, as we all know, the season's a marathon, and the injury bug has bit the Brewers a little bit early off, but it's not going to last forever, and hopefully they can overcome that adversity.
Oh yeah.
The Brewers seem to have also picked it up after the All-Star break. They always have a better record after that, and hopefully when everyone's healthy, they'll be able to do well. But considering the MLB champions from last year, World Series champions Red Sox, what do you think about this year? Are they going to repeat?
Well, Red Sox, I mean, they're off to a good start so far, but I think what it comes down to is, their prospects. They signed Yohan Moncada, international free agent this offseason, who's supposed to help out. I think he's going to come up, be able to do, wonders at the third base position. But them and the San Francisco Giants, who started 4-10, I don't think they're looking up this season.
I think that they're sitting at 8-5 right now, so it could go either way for them. They could either pick it up from here and keep on the roll, the winning record, or they could stoop below the 500. So we'll kind of see as the season plays out.
Well, as we move on to players to watch, I'd like to correct the mistake I made with the Red Sox winning the World Series. It was actually the Giants. Forgive me on that. But quickly moving on, players to watch. I'll start with you, Kyle. Who's one player in the MLB right now, perhaps Bryce Harper, if you're looking at just watching, other than your Cubs fan, your Cubs player from the
Chicago Cubs. I think if anybody, I'm going to hide away from Bryce Harper. He has a good start. He's starting with a .267 batting average, which is a little low. I think he's a .290 hitter in the majors. I think he can bump that up. But Mike Trout of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, he is off to a magnificent start. He's batting .354 this season, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. He's got 17 hits already in only 13 games. He, in the 2-hole with the Los Angeles Angels, he is going to help them out, making up for Josh Hamilton, who's so far it's suspended from the league. Not technically suspended, but he's sitting out trying to get matters worked out there. But Mike Trout, Nelson Cruz, a new signee of the Seattle Mariners, leads the MLB with 8 home runs, which even me, I wasn't expecting. He had 40 home runs last year. I didn't think he'd get back to it, but obviously he's working wonders again with Seattle. Him, Robinson Cano in the middle of that lineup, that's definitely good.
That's a deadly lineup. Alex Rodriguez would have to be my player. He's freshly off his suspension, but he's on pace to hit 50 home runs this year. Now, as a player to watch, as per being successful this year, what about players to watch, maybe repeat offenders of the drug abuse program in the MLB?
Coming off that suspension, to be honest, hitting on pace to hit 50 home runs isn't really your best your best comeback. In the sense that he's not supposed to be juicing anymore. So I would watch him if I were you. Maybe he found a different one that just doesn't pop up in that test. So like you said, there's a lot of people out there that you got to watch for with those drugs.
I agree. I think A-Rod's got to kind of keep it low-key like Ryan Braun has. Just kind of, put up some numbers, but not too much to get the MLB thinking, like, is that guy doing it again? So
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Exactly.
That's very true. Speaking of our hometown favorite for us Brewer fans, Ryan Braun, has had a little bit of a slump year. How do you foresee the end of his year picking up and possibly ending? Is he a all-star this year?
I don't think he's an all-star. I think he's going to put up, above average numbers. Last year, I believe he batted 273, 283. He's still someone you can put in the middle of the lineup and depend on, getting the runs in, getting the home runs. He's a run producer, whether he's on roids or not. I think he's someone you can still put in the 4 or 5 hole and say, get me 2 or 3 runs a game, and he can do it. But an all-star, I don't see it.
All right. Now that we've talked about the players to watch, the teams to watch, and the Floyd Mayweather fight, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go to Perfect Pets. Stay tuned.
Each week, WMCM sends out a group of students to film some of the most precious animals of the Cooley Region Humane Society in a segment we like to call Perfect Pets. Here at the shelter, we found this guy. His name is Freckles, a male white-haired terrier mix. Freckles needs a home. Meet Lavender, a 2-year-old domestic short-hair adult. This kitty needs a home. This is Zeus, a Jack Russell Terrier of 6 years and 18 pounds. Zeus needs a home. To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Welcome back to Sports Talk Live. The number again for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. So as we move forward, all I have are 2 words. Playoffs? Playoffs? We have the NHL playoffs and we have the NBA playoffs. Our hometown favorite, Minnesota Wild, and I would also include Chicago Blackhawks, as they are both close in location, both up 2-1 in their respective battles against the Blues and the Nashville Predators. What are your takes on how those series might end and their probability of making it to the Stanley Cup?
With the Minnesota Wild, they're up 2-1. I could see them taking it in 5 games, winning these next 2. I think the Blues can put up, maybe 1 more game, but I think the Wild have this sealed off. They were closing in on the Blackhawks for Western Conference seeding towards the end of the year, so I think they'll take that. The Chicago Blackhawks are an interesting story. Game 1, Corey Crawford, goalie, gives up 3 goals in the first period. He's pulled for backup Scott Darling, and from there on out, the Blackhawks score 3 runs still in baseball, 3 goals in a row, go into double overtime and win it. Sadly, the next day they don't do it. But another interesting fact with the Blackhawks, since 2009, they have entered 27 overtime contests in playoffs and have won 16 of those. So they really like to stretch the games out.
I think that the Blackhawks, as usual, we can see them going for deep playoff runs. They don't normally bow out in the first round or the second round. Like you said, with the overtime victories, they really know how to screw it up in the beginning, but then come in with a finish and really just take to the next level. And I think with Darling in the goal now, as much as I am a Corey Crawford fan coming from the Rockford Ice Hawks from my hometown, I think that the Blackhawks could do something.
The Blackhawks always seem to put up a great battle. And speaking of great battles, right here in the studio today, we have a little bit of a feud with the Chicago Bulls playing the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA playoffs. Game 3 is coming up, but right now the series is 2-0 with the Chicago Bulls leading the series and looking to maybe sweep my Bucks. How is this series looking out, and how is Derrick Rose staying healthy?
Personally, go ahead, Trent.
Don't be talking about sweeps so early. Don't give up like that. We knew it was going to be a tough one when we were coming in. But, obviously the Bucks, just as the Brewers got hit by the injury bug a little bit, Jabari's not there to help them cruise to an NBA championship, but it'll be soon enough. Obviously, like you said, they found themselves down 2 games early on here as a 6th seed. They got their hands full. Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler's been playing very well as well, and we're going to need some more guys to step up and be a little bit more physical down low.
I think Chris Middleton is going to be a big factor for the Bucks, as he's been putting up good numbers, even more than Giannis in the past couple games. Just coming in with the clutch threes and those long jumpers to get him out and get it out of the down low where Pau Gasol and Joakim Noah are just dominating the paint. So I think the Bucks are in trouble. To be honest, 2K did a prediction of the whole playoffs, and the Bucks were the only team to get swept the whole time. So I just like to keep that in mind. And also with Derrick Rose coming back, I think he's more healthy than he's been in a while, just with the way his playing style is and stuff. And Jimmy Butler scoring as many points as the whole Bucks team in the fourth quarter last night. Come on, I mean, I think the Bulls are looking at a sweep here. I hope that's what I'm hoping for.
2 words for this series, and it's da Bulls. The Bulls are going to pull off a sweep. I expect it. Last game, it was neck and neck through the first half. I think it was really close. Milwaukee really put up some physicality in the paint, and the physicality actually led to 7 technicals in last night's game. So you can see the passion, the energy's there, but I think the Bulls just might be a little too strong. Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler scored 25 and 31 in both games, and looking forward to the next 2 contests in Milwaukee. I mean, the home field advantage might be able to bump them up a game, maybe catch the second game too, but I think the Bulls are a powerhouse, so I don't see the Bucks getting past this first round.
No, Kyle, I agree with you that the Bulls are a powerhouse, but there are some missing factors. Like Brigham mentioned, 2K did make a predictable algorithm for who's going to win, but there are some intangibles, such as Jason Kidd, who's stepped up and is, I would say, the coach of the year, and he's brought a young Bucks team into the playoffs. And I believe that this year is going to be his year, and as he coaches this young Bucks team, down 2-0, both away games, they'll be able to pull out and hopefully pull to a 7-game series, which I foresee going to the Bucks, hopefully, but it should be a good game.
I'm just waiting for Jason Kidd to pull off the suit and put on the jersey,
Put on the
Jackie
jersey.
Moon style, player, coach, owner.
Let's
Now
hope he
we-
doesn't have to purposely spill some Powerade this year.
We have a lot of fan favorites. The Bucks do play very team-style basketball, but there are other teams out there that rely on one single player. I know Russell Westbrook is more or less out of the question, although he's the scoring champ. The last scoring champ to win the MVP was Kevin Durant. Before that, Allen Iverson. But for this year, it looks like it's just a duel with Curry and Harden, and possibly LeBron. Where do you see the MVP title ending up?
Yeah, that's a great question. Both Curry and Harden have been playing tremendously this year, offensively and defensively. Curry with the Warriors and the Splash Bros, I think they combined for over 50 points or something again last night. Harden, not that he's a one-man show, but he definitely has the ability to take it over. And I think that Curry might have a little more talent on his team than Harden actually has. But I'd like to see the title go to Curry. In the last however many years, I think only 2 people have won it besides LeBron. I don't think LeBron's going to sneak back into this one with the points per game differential as far as the assists and things like that. But I'd like to see Curry come away with the win.
I agree with Trent. I think Curry's got the foot forward in this race against Harden, just because not only is he a dominant scorer back-to-back nights, he's also averaging over 8 assists a game. So not only is he's not the only person on the floor that can score. He's got other weapons around him like Klay Thompson that he can dish the ball to, and he's just got that eye for the game. He's always putting the passes where they need to go, the shooting when he needs to shoot, just putting his team in position to win games. To be honest, I don't think LeBron James is really in this question at all. I think he's number 6, if anything, behind. You got James Harden. Then I could see even Chris Paul up there with Russell Westbrook, and then Anthony Davis is still putting up great numbers in the playoffs. So what do you think?
I think it's Stephen Curry all the way. I mean, James Harden has 27.4 points per game that he's averaging, where Stephen Curry is only 23.8. But I revert back to the 2010 season when LeBron James was putting up 29 points a game and Derrick Rose was only putting up 26. But I think it just comes to, overall, who's the biggest factor on the team. And I think Stephen Curry's the guy. He's well deserving of the award, and it'd be nice to see it go to a Golden State player.
All right, well, I do appreciate all your input and the viewers at home for staying tuned to Sports Talk Live, 2:45 Tuesdays and Thursdays. Again, thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Ray there.